Clips of Clark getting fouled with no whistle, that's what's flooding Twitter, Reddit, and TikTok. It's not just basketball anymore, it's a painful drama playing out in real time. Caitlin Clark, the generational talent who revived an entire league, now limps through games, her bruises telling a story louder than the scoreboard. These aren't just injuries, they're signs of neglect. Missed calls, cold shoulders from refs, and silence from the league. Not one press conference, not one bold action, just the kind of corporate silence that echoes betrayal. Adam Silver, once hailed as basketball's progressive face, now seems lost, steering blindly while the league spirals. Fans see it clearly. They're done being quiet. They watch as Clark absorbs hit after hit, while those in power deflect with empty statements about league values. This isn't a rookie learning the ropes. It's a star being left to fend for herself in a league that refuses to protect her. Commentators hesitate, afraid to say what viewers scream at their screens. The WNBA got its global spotlight because of her, but now that light reveals a league letting its brightest star fade, and every second of silence from leadership only adds fuel to the growing outrage fans refuse to ignore. This isn't just an athlete being mistreated, it's a symbol of systemic failure that's rotting the league from the top down. Fans aren't blind, and they're certainly not stupid. They see Adam Silver hiding behind WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, as if titles and hierarchy excuse silence while chaos unfolds. This isn't just a PR mess, it's a complete collapse in leadership. A league that loves to preach women's empowerment is now allowing one of its most iconic stars to be broken down, both physically and mentally, in plain sight. And it's not just Clark's supporters raising hell, it's former legends, respected journalists, major sponsors, and they're all pointing the same way, straight at Adam Silver. Now let's talk about that All-Star game. The one that was supposed to be a celebration in Clark's own city. Tickets exploded in price the second her name was announced. It was hers to own, till a groin injury, clearly caused by unchecked hits, took her out. Even rival coaches couldn't deny what they'd seen. That absence didn't just stint, shattered the league's momentum. This wasn't some unlucky break, it was leadership's failure in full display. In Clark's carefully worded statement to the team, it was heartbreak disguised as grace. "I have to rest my body," she said, but what she didn't say screamed even louder. Caitlin Clark didn't need to blame anyone. She didn't call anyone out because the evidence was everywhere, on every replay, every slow-motion clip. From her knees to her ribs, she's being targeted in every arena. Opponents aren't defending her, they're crashing into her like it's a demolition derby, and the league. Silent, no flagrant calls, no fines, no suspensions, just another welcome to the league moment. But let's stop pretending this is part of the game. The level of contact Clark's absorbing isn't physical basketball, it's dangerous, reckless violence. This is the same league where 141 injuries have been reported among 179 players in just 44 games. That's not wear and tear, that's a crisis, and when Clark hits the court, fans don't just gasp, they scream. Because this isn't just about Caitlin Clark anymore. It's about how little women's sports seem to matter to the executives cashing in. The hypocrisy from the top is stunning. Adam Silver, who never misses a chance to preach about social justice, equality, and player safety in the NBA, suddenly has nothing to say, unless it involves LeBron sneezing. Apparently, when Caitlin Clark gets hammered on national TV, the league stays silent. That silence is turning loyal fans into bitter critics. It's not just a double standard anymore, it's a firestorm, burning the WNBA's goodwill to the ground. Even the media is catching on. The Washington Post, not known for overreactions, sarcastically suggested the WNBA replace its logo with a bruise. When jokes start sounding like facts, the crisis is real. This isn't backlash, it's a reckoning, aimed straight at Adam Silver's polished reputation. The progressive commissioner, the self-declared voice of equality, where is he? Now certainly not watching courtside as Caitlin Clark takes hit after hit. Even coaching staff are fumbling. Stephanie White, Clark's own coach, claimed she didn't know about the groin injury until right before the All-Star game, even though fans had already noticed Clark playing with taped-up legs. So what is it, ignorance or a cover-up? Either way, it's unacceptable when you're responsible for the league's most valuable player. One haunting moment during the Seattle Storm game said it all. The Fever had already lost. The scoreboard didn't matter. And yet there she was, Clark, limping, wincing, and still forced back onto the floor, as if her body was disposable and her presence just a marketing tool. And then it happened. Caitlin Clark felt her groin flared up, and she stayed on the hardwood far too long, but the game moved on like nothing happened. That fall wasn't just physical, it was a metaphor for how far league standards have collapsed. Now let's pull back and look at the numbers. For 2 decades, the WNBA was bleeding $20 million a year. Then Clark arrived. Suddenly, attendance soared, TV ratings exploded, and brands finally opened their wallets. She didn't just elevate the sport, she rescued it. And how does the league thank her? By refusing to enforce even the most basic rules of player safety. That's not ignorance, that's corporate betrayal. And it doesn't stop there. Fans are now comparing it to the NBA, and the contrast is painful. Imagine Steph Curry taking knees and elbows night after night. Think Adam Silver would stay silent? Not a chance. He'd have technicals and suspensions flying within hours. But when it's Caitlin Clark, she's left to fend for herself. The double standard is no longer a subplot, it's front-page news. And now, medical experts are stepping in with harsh truths. Groin injuries like Clark's often result from overcompensation, her body reacting to repeated trauma the league failed to prevent. In this case, it's likely the same quad she injured earlier this season. Any sports doctor will tell you. This pattern is textbook. One injury leads to another. And if Caitlin Clark rushes back, which she probably will, it could escalate into something that threatens not just this season, but her entire career. We're not just talking missed games, we're talking about her longevity, her legacy, and the stakes aren't just national anymore, they're global. Clark didn't just revive the WNBA, she introduced it to the world. International fans now tune in to see her magic, but what they're seeing instead are clips of her being fouled, shoved, and ignored. That's not just bad optics, it's a global embarrassment. You can't preach progress and broadcast brutality. The message collapses. Sponsors are starting to back away, alarmed by the optics. They signed up for women's basketball, not a contact sport highlight reel. When your biggest star becomes your biggest liability, it's not just a PR nightmare, it's a business disaster. And with every passing day, Adam Silver stays silent. More sponsorship dollars vanish. But here's the part that stings the most. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark. What we're seeing now reveals a deeper, systemic failure across the league. Other stars are falling to A'ja Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Nafisa Cut. Injury list keeps growing, but because none of them brought the media storm that Caitlin Clark did, their pain gets quieter headlines. Still, the trend is undeniable. This isn't just a Clark issue, it's a full-blown league-wide epidemic, and no one in charge seems willing or able to address it. So what now? The season grinds on, but every time Clark's name disappears from the starting lineup, every time she sits with a bandaged leg or a blank stare, fans remember. They remember the body checks ignored, the hard fouls uncalled, the silence from leadership that screamed complicity, and it builds game after game until the WNBA's brightest hope becomes its most painful regret. Not because of anything Clark did wrong, but because the league watched it coming and did nothing. And what does that tell the next generation? The little girls in the stands wearing number 22 jerseys, the ones who saved up for tickets the moment she was drafted. What do they take away from this? That greatness comes with a price. That if they shine too bright, they'll be targeted too. That their talent is expendable in a league too timid to protect its future. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark anymore, it's about the message the WNBA is sending to every young female athlete watching. The players feel it. You can see it in their eyes during post-game interviews, hear it in voices that sound tired, hesitant, and carefully measured. No one wants to say too much, but deep down, everyone knows too much has already happened. A few have spoken out. Most stay silent, afraid of fines or league backlash. But under the surface, something is growing. Unity locker rooms are buzzing. This isn't about isolated hits anymore, it's about patterns. And patterns, this dangerous, threaten careers. Now consider the timing. The WNBA just locked in a massive media rights deal, carried on the momentum Caitlin Clark brought with her. Primetime games, surging merch sales, major streaming contracts, it was all up and to the right. But it all depends on one critical piece, player availability. And right now, Clark is unavailable. Not to the cameras, not to her fans, and not to the league that pushed her until she broke. The result, a looming fallout the league can't afford. Because you can't market greatness when your brightest star is sidelined. This star is sidelined. You can't sell dreams when the dream itself is injured. Again, and how can you possibly build a future when the very core is cracking, night after night? Adam Silver, the man who helped transform the NBA into a billion-dollar global empire, now stands at the center of a league spiraling into chaos on his watch. The WNBA is breaking, not because of talent or lack of fans, but because of silence, mismanagement, and contradictions that run deep. Where is the accountability? Where is the urgent league-wide response? Not a single press conference, not a statement, not even a cold, corporate, "we stand by our players" tweet, just dead air. And that silence is no longer empty, deafening. It's filling Twitter threads, YouTube comments, halftime broadcasts, post-game breakdowns, and the fans, they're furious. Once excited by Caitlin Clark's game-changing presence, they now feel misled, abandoned. They were promised a revolution and instead got regression. Even longtime analysts are pulling away, asking tough questions. Can this league still be saved? Or has the damage gone too far? Because, let's be clear, this is no longer a growing pain. It's a salvage job. The fire is raging, and the one holding the extinguisher is missing. And with every ignored foul, every no comment, the blaze intensifies and it's beginning to engulf everything. This isn't just a scandal about violence, it's a scandal about betrayal, about the silence that screams louder than words. The WNBA, which once marketed itself as a beacon of women's empowerment, is now drowning in contradiction. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a rookie, she was a revolution. A ratings magnet, a generational talent who could have redefined women's basketball. But instead of protection, she's met neglect. The league that once championed inclusivity is now exposing its hypocrisy, and fans see it. They're tired of hashtags with no action, of statements with no soul. This generation doesn't wait, they mobilize, they protest, they boycott. They don't just follow, they lead. And when Clark became a symbol of injustice, she lit a fire that's now burning through the league's fragile credibility. Every overlooked foul, every delayed response is fuel on that fire. And if the WNBA thinks this will blow over, they're underestimating a fan base raised on truth and transparency. This isn't a PR storm, it's a cultural reckoning. The silence is no longer neutral, it's guilt. It's cowardice, it's collapse. The time to act isn't tomorrow, it's now. And if Commissioner Kathy Engelbert doesn't course immediately, she might just watch the whole foundation fall. Adam Silver can't keep hiding behind the polished image of an NBA commissioner while chaos unfolds in the sport he's sworn to protect. His role demands more than public statements. It demands action, responsibility, and leadership over the entire basketball ecosystem, including the WNBA. This isn't the time for PR bandages like cheerful highlights and jersey exchanges. This moment calls for a complete system reboot. Officiating protocols must be rebuilt from the ground up. There should be instant, flagrant foul reviews, stricter penalties, expanded medical teams, and transparent injury reports. But above all, the league must prioritize the safety of its biggest assets, starting with Caitlin Clark. Because let's be honest, without her, the league would still be struggling in the shadows. She reignited interest, revived lost sponsorships, and brought record-breaking ratings with every shot she took. Yet now, the same league is watching her hobble through a career barely out of its infancy. If they let this icon fade into injury, they won't just lose a star, they'll lose their credibility with an entire generation. This moment isn't just about basketball, it's about systemic neglect, gender bias, and a sports culture that says all the right words, but keeps failing the women who trusted it. Caitlin Clark is no longer just a rising star. She's become the ultimate test of whether the WNBA values action over applause. And right now, that test is being failed. Every missed flagrant foul, every unreported injury isn't just negligence, it's a statement. The world is watching, and the scoreboard isn't in the league's favor. But there's still a narrow window for redemption. The league can rewrite this narrative, not with PR stunts, but with real, enforceable change. Strong leadership, strict policy upgrades, and genuine accountability are not optional anymore. They're urgent, because the next unchecked injury won't just break a player, it could fracture the entire league's credibility. No one will be shocked if that happens. They'll simply say, "We warned you." Caitlin isn't asking for star treatment. She's demanding fair treatment, basic protection, respect, and safety. And the fact that this demand is seen as controversial proves just how deep this crisis runs. The WNBA now stands at a crossroads. Either stand with its athletes or hide behind silence. It can't do both. And with every second lost, fans grow sharper, angrier, louder, connecting dots between injuries and the looming CBA. If injured stars hold less leverage, then the question becomes chilling. Is that the plan all along? Is this chaos by design? Is the league allowing brutal physicality to persist because it fits a bigger business plan? It sounds like a conspiracy theory until you realize how long the silence has lasted and how much Adam Silver stands to gain from weakening the players' union. Now, let's talk legacy. Silver had the chance to be the commissioner who finally closed the gap between men's and women's professional basketball. He had the moment to turn progressive promises into real change. Instead, he's overseeing a PR disaster, a player safety nightmare, and the potential collapse of the WNBA's biggest growth surge ever. And all this just to dodge accountability. The fans aren't just angry, they're organized and relentless. Every tweet, every viral clip, every comment is a call for justice. They won't stop until someone steps up and owns the failure. Caitlin Clark is no longer just a player, she's a movement. And if Adam Silver doesn't wake up soon, he won't just be remembered as the commissioner who failed her, he'll be the one who failed the entire future of women's basketball. The league is out of time for excuses. No more vague statements, no more hiding behind structure. The WNBA must act, and it must act now or risk watching its golden era vanish before it ever truly began. What happens next will define everything. Will there be accountability, real officiating reform, clear protocols, and decisive leadership? Or will we keep watching highlight reels of injuries instead of greatness? Because the truth is brutal. If Clark suffers another major injury, the fallout won't just be emotional, it'll be historic. The backlash won't come in. Whispers roar from every corner of sports media, from players, sponsors, and fans alike. This isn't a debate anymore, it's a demand. And the fans, they're not going anywhere. They're not getting distracted, they're laser-focused, because they've seen the proof. When the league protects its stars, magic happens. When it doesn't, history turns into heartbreak. The next few weeks will be critical. If Adam Silver and Kathy Engelbert want to save face, they need to show up with actions, not slogans. The rulebook must evolve. Suspensions must happen. Medical staffing must improve. And Clark, she deserves a real plan for her recovery, not pressure to rush back for ratings. She's not just carrying a team, she's carrying an entire league's hopes. And if the leadership doesn't protect her now, they don't deserve what she brings to the court. This is no longer about a single player. It's about every young athlete dreaming of making it big and believing they'll be treated with dignity when they do. That dream is cracking. But there's still time to rebuild. If the league chooses courage over silence, accountability over branding, and safety over showmanship, then maybe, just maybe, this fire will forge something stronger, but delay any longer, and the league's legacy might already be lost.